I've not figured that bit out. I've got different fucking tabs, but I haven't got different windows.
We're live, by the way.
Live.co.uk and then pop out the chat.
Okay.
Oh, I don't even bother popping out the chat, but then again, I've got multiple screens, so. How are we doing, everybody? Is everybody enjoying the show so far? We actually have a Gord's on webcam, which is a weird thing to
Yes,
say.
he's not on his phone tonight.
Yeah, for a change.
We've got a Keith who's exceedingly happy and is drinking white label spirits from a tankard of sorts.
Well, my excellent tankard look.
And as per usual, I actually have nothing for us to chat about. So thanks for joining. This has been a great show. Tatty bye. But I suppose we should really start with the introductions. So firstly, this man should need no introduction. He's been here since the start. In fact, he's one of our admins on JV Main. Keith.
Yes, Roy.
You alright, me old mucker?
Oh, I'm alright, mate. How are you?
I'm alright. Can't complain. I'm here, I'm drinking, I'm having a good time.
Good, good, good.
Would you like to say hello to the people in chat, or would you just like to leave them to it?
Just leave them to it. They're alright. They know what to do. They're used to it by now. Ashley, how you doing, mate? Ashley Miller, my old mate. How you doing, mate?
We've been live for a whole 2 minutes, and Ash hasn't mentioned the fact that you're still on charge.
No, that's true.
So in before the Ash. We actually have Brian Freeman in the chat tonight, who I haven't seen about for a long time. So you alright, Brian?
No, it's about time he came on here, actually.
And finally, we have Gords. Gords, would you like to say hello to the people at home from your fancy new setup?
Yeah, hello everyone at home, and bear with me, I'm just finding shit.
He's fiddling.
Gords is just getting used to being able to watch the chat as we actually talk.
I'm in unfamiliar territory.
It all gets dangerous from here. Eventually you'll be doing multiple screens, multiple machines, and it just gets confusing. I have two mice next to me, and I
have
keep...
a super gourd soon.
So, I don't know what we're going to chat about. I'm not drunk enough yet to have a rant. So if chat would like to say anything for us to talk about, I would be more than happy to chat about something that chat brings up. Or if the panel has anything.
I've got a rant, but it's not a subject I wish to broach at this point in time.
What was that, Gorge?
I said I have got a rant, but it's not a subject I wish to broach at this moment in time.
Okay, we'll leave that until later then.
So, no.
Stick a pin in that and save that for a bit.
Yeah, we'll save that for later on.
We'll leave the rants until we're sufficiently lubricated.
Yes, need a bit of lubrication for rants. But there is everybody's been talking about what's happening with VTTV, haven't they?
I've not spoken to anyone. So
I had a Skype call from somebody straight after yesterday's show.
Yeah, that's the point, Ryan. We need to get out the torture devices.
Why?
Lights on the subject. We need a spotlight on Chief Keith.
I'm quite a fan of waterboarding. Some people think it's a bit too extreme. Personally, I think it's relatively safe, and it's a pretty decent torture method.
Whatever you get up to in the privacy of your own home, I'm not going to question.
Yeah.
I'm into some freaky shit.
Trust me, he is.
All right, Keith, you're not supposed to go around telling everybody. Supposed to be
I'll
a
tell you
pledge.
what we can do, because I'm not going to put Keith on the spot, because Sav will tear his bollocks off if he lets the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, she would. She would.
We could do a little random conjecture about the direction that VTTV is going in.
I think they've been signed up by Channel 4 and they're going to do an exclusive show once a week.
Well, given some of the shit that Channel 4 puts out, it can't be any worse.
No. I mean, it'll be a ton better than Channel 4 News.
Yes.
We could cancel Hollyoaks and VTTV can go on for half an hour every evening if they want. I mean, I don't mind.
I think they've been signed up for Celebrity Big Brother.
Is that still going?
Yes. Why do you think I'm sat down here?
I didn't even know Celebrity Big Brother was still a thing.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a thing, but it's certainly still polluting the airways.
I'm just honoured that you think we're well known enough to be called celebrities, actually.
Well,
Keith.
in the community you are.
Keith, I'm not being funny though. I could get on Celebrity Big Brother and I'm not known for anything.
That's true.
Celebrity Big Brother is the only celebrity show I've known where they've had former celebrities, former Big Brother contestants go on as celebrities. No, they're not celebrities. They're just random people who enter the competition where they're going to live in a house with other people for X amount of period of time, and they were remotely entertaining for the X amount of weeks that they were actually on the show. And the only reason they were remotely entertaining is because everybody else on there is that fucking wooden. Even Keanu Reeves could outact them.
That's saying something.
Oh, we have a Sav in the chat.
Yeah,
Good evening, Sav.
I'm just looking. Sav's keeping an eye on.
Sav's coming to make sure I don't say anything.
I don't blame her.
Don't worry, Sav, I'm not going to say anything.
No, we won't let him say anything anyway.
I don't want my bollocks ripping off, don't worry.
Plus, this show isn't about vaping.
No.
No, this is the only non-vaping show.
Yeah, which occasionally we do talk about vaping, but only when it's something really, really important.
Really
I'll
important.
give you an update on last week. I didn't make it into Wigan. Work got in the way. So tomorrow I'm off work.
Would that mean a trip into Wigan then?
No. Gords is most definitely coming down to spend the day with me at my office, where unfortunately the CCTV cameras will be out of action all day.
Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's time I brought you our sponsor. We are Rent an Alibi. Competitive rates on competitive alibis. That's all I got. So, I mean, this show is kind of becoming a weird thing where we ramble on about random stuff for about 20 minutes and then end up talking computers for the rest of the show.
Yeah, that's true.
Last week we actually did 90 minutes on computers.
Yeah, I was watching it back on the way home today. Well, I was listening to it back, sorry. I stick YouTube on and put the headphones in when I'm driving and just listen, put some on to listen. Hence why I watch a lot of your gaming videos.
Which I still haven't done anymore.
No, you're not. So I was watching back from last week, which, yeah, we talk a lot about ancient computer systems that no one should care about.
Well, I was actually watching a thing on YouTube today, and it's about the price of retro games, which is something I feel quite strongly about, because I know how much retro games are worth. I know which games are worth money and which games aren't worth money. So when I get somebody tell me a copy of Earthbound is only worth a tenner, the original SNES cartridge, I will quite happily turn around to them and call them a twat and say that thing is worth like 80 to 100 quid. It's the same.
SNES cartridge.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they were limited.
Find a functional SNES cartridge that you want. I rest my case.
It's one of those things, Keith. What it is when the games are released, they all have a set value. But some games either flop, so they don't shift many units, which means a lot of units get sent back to be recycled. Or the market gets flooded with cheap copies of the game, or people can't sell them, so they just keep hold of them for years and years and years. And when something is really difficult to come by, it's worth more money. It's the same with cars. A 1968 Shelby Mustang GT 500 KR in matte black with pink single purple pinstriping is worth a lot of money. A 1968 Mustang isn't worth anywhere near as much. It's the Shelby Mustang that's worth the money because they were a limited run. The 68 Mustang is still probably worth about 12, 15 grand as a shell, and if it's a running car then probably about 30, where the Shelby is worth about 70 or 80.
Yes, but you're talking classic cars, not SNES cartridges.
But they're the same thing, man.
It's the same principle, Orchie.
It's the same as, right, think about
it's the same as anything, supply and demand.
Plastic with a printed circuit board inside it.
Hey, right, first of all, that's not a PCB.
If you really want it, it's supply and demand. Some things become classic. They can become classic a year after they were made, 5 years after they're made, 30 years after they're made, but some things people want long after they've ceased being available or easily available. So that bumps the price up.
It's like
I've never understood that with
games. It's the physical copy of any game it's just the actual case and the disc. The actual physical copy of the game is worth more than the data on the disc. The data on the disc has a set value. If you want Final Fantasy VII, you can go online, you can go onto Steam, you can buy it for 15 quid. Wait until they got a sale, you'll probably get it for 6, maybe 5, something like that. But
to be fair, if you just want to play a SNES game, you can just get an emulator on your computer, find the ROM for free, and you can play it for nothing, or the cost of putting it on your hard drive. But it's the collectible aspect. It's people buying into nostalgia, and it's the same with anything, whether it's knives, mods, guns, cars, fishing rods. People will pay a lot for something that they specifically desire. And what it's worth is what someone's prepared to pay. I used to work with a guy. He bought 2 Airfix models of everything that he bought. And he was 75 years old when I stopped working there. And he still had every single Airfix model that he'd bought. He'd got one that he'd made and one that he'd bought and stored. Still wrapped in its cellophane, untouched, unmolested, stored properly so it wasn't degrading inside the packaging. That could have been his retirement plan if he wanted. It was entirely up to him. He was a very economical person. But he probably had Airfix models there that he bought for 2 shillings and 6pence or something daft like that, that now are worth thousands of pounds to the right person.
think of it like LPs, because I collect LPs. Right? Back in the day, you used to buy an LP for next to nothing. 75 pence, I think. One of my LPs is Mark IV, a single. Obviously, then singles went up. They're about 3 or 4 quid for a single. And then you got the albums. They were 5 or 6 quid, whatever. I've got some that are marked as really random denominations of currency I'm not completely and utterly familiar with, let's put it that way. But I know how much they're worth now. I've got New York Dolls and the original Pistols LP. That thing is my retirement plan, because every fucking year it is going up in value because it's the original Pistols. Because there was only 200 or some of these LPs made with the original Pistols printed on it. The rest were printed with the Sex Pistols.
Mm.
But because it's one of a limited run, it's worth a lot of money.
It's the same thing with, like, if we vaguely head back towards vaping for a second, look at how much Caravellas were going for maybe 12 months ago. Or what was the other one by whoever it was called? What was the Unicorn Mech Mod? They were selling in the States for like multiple thousands of dollars for a brass tube. Because there's a demand. It's the same thing now with like popular C-frame mods. The high-end vapors that are buying high-end gear, at the end of the day you can get exactly the same vape out of like an IPv4 or a Sigela, because it's the same chip. But because someone's created a demand for it, you can buy like a Zero once you get it off the list and flip it for a ridiculous amount of money. It's people are daft. It's as simple as that. A Zero is just a piece of C-channel aluminium sliced up, shaped, and a case wrapped around it with an SX350 chip in. It's nothing special, but there's a demand around it that makes it special to certain people. It's like my Land Cruiser. It's a 25-year-old piece of shit Toyota. But when I bought that, Land Cruisers in a dealership were going for like £4,000 or £5,000 more than an equivalent Range Rover. Explain that.
Because it's got a better engine.
Well, it has. I mean, Range Rovers are shite anyway, but you get the idea. It's the same thing that'll do, well, I was going to say it'll do the same job, but the Land Cruiser will get you home, the Range Rover won't. But for some reason, that model of Land Cruiser really holds the money.
Yeah.
I could quite possibly now sell it for roughly what I paid for it. And mine's battered. Mine's been used for off-roading and all sorts.
It works the same way with the Hilux as well. The Hilux, the old Hiluxes, still go for a fair whack now, and they've not dropped in value in the last 10 years.
No. When I bought that Land Cruiser, the Hilux was one of the ones I was looking at. But to find a dual cab Hilux with solid axles, because it was a rare run, you were talking £5,000 or £6,000 for a beaten up old pickup truck with a shit engine in it. But certain people, they're in demand for it, so they command a premium. And it's the same with branded beer glasses or Zippo lighters. Look at the price of Zippo lighters for collector's editions.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Yeah,
know.
you're talking a ton easy for a collector's Zippo.
For something that can do the same job with the fucking clipper lighter. It's a difference between need and want. And it's the same whether it's games, computers, you know.
I think they say the same thing will happen with PCs and stuff like that.
With PCs, it's less than likely because there's nothing really that for PCs nowadays that's built in limited runs. But even saying that, I mean, the older Macs and stuff like that, and the older first generation Windows computers are worth a lot of money. If you've got a Windows 32 system or a Windows 3.1 system,
You know, like I'm talking the old like 386s and stuff like that.
But they're worth money already.
You know, without knowing anything about it, I'd be willing to bet that one thing that is worth a lot of money now is the Mega PC. Do you remember that? It was a PC with a Mega Drive built into it.
Yeah, it will be because it was a limited run anyway. There wasn't many sold.
Yeah, it was a
I don't
limited
think I've heard of one of them.
It was a limited run, and it was an extortionate amount of money for what it was at the time. But now gaming and computers and stuff has been going long enough that there's lots of people that get nostalgia for things that they wanted when they were younger but couldn't get. It's the same with, that's how classic cars make the money. People now want things that were popular when they were younger,
Yeah.
but now are quite rare. Like, I had old Mark 1 Escorts and the shells were worth thousands of pounds, which was really annoying because they were worth thousands of pounds 12 months after I fucking sold them. But, you know what I mean? The people start to want something to recapture the youth, be it cars. Now we're seeing computers are seeing the same thing, and that's what people are buying, not the actual thing. The thing compared to what you can have now is a piece of crap.
Yeah.
People are recapturing the youth. It's their way of travelling back in time, and that's what they're buying.
That's what it's all about, it's the nostalgia element, trying to get back to your youth and your childhood.
It's like I'd love to have a Mark 1 Escort now, but there's just no way that it's going to happen. Absolutely not. Because, number one, I'm going to chop it up because I don't want a standard Mark 1 Escort. It's a base to do something with. But standard Mark 1 Escorts are still going for thousands of pounds. And all that, the stuff with the, you remember a couple of years ago they did the thing where you could weigh in a banger and you got £2,000 towards your car. That was an absolute tragedy because they weren't scrapping like heap of shit Sierras and Nissan Micras. They were honest to goodness classic vehicles that are absolutely irreplaceable that were being scrapped. And once they've been scrapped, it's not like the government was sensible and said, well, what we'll do is we'll have some experts involved, and if someone gives up a vehicle and we give them a subsidy, they could have sold those vehicles for a profit. But because they'd scrapped them, they couldn't be put back on the road.
Yeah, it's because my dad's uncle buys and sells cars, and he was at one of the dealerships for something or other, and somebody had brought in, I can't remember if it was a MGB or an MG midget or something like that, but really decent condition to get this £2,000 subsidy towards their new car.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'll buy that for £2,000. I'll buy it. Oh, the paperwork's already been done.
Yeah, and the car was worth more than the £2,000.
Yeah,
they could have stuck it on Auto Trader and they'd have got more than £2,000 for some of the cars that were being scrapped. It was an absolute travesty.
Yeah, I mean, I personally know of 3 or 4 cars that were less than 10-year-old that got scrapped, which would have definitely been worth more than £2,000. The problem is the average punter don't know this because they're used to the value that the garages will give you for trading.
Mm.
They don't know the actual value of vehicles. But
I mean, like, the motor trade's despicable anyway, because if you've got something like a Focus or a Mondeo and the ECU goes on it, it costs more for the ECU than it costs to replace your 15-year-old Focus or Mondeo.
But you've got to give one thing to Ford. at least with every single Ford that's ever rolled off the production line, they've always circled the problem for you.
So, I like Fords.
I do as well, but I like the old Fords, not the newer stuff.
Well, yeah, before I got into four-wheel drives, all I had was Fords. And, I mean, when I was 18, I had a Mark II Granada. I stuck an XR4 before V6 in it, and a Capri box, because I was a hooligan, basically.
You will be with a vehicle like that, yeah.
You know, and it was great because before I had my Granada, I had Mark Escorts and then I had a Fiesta. And it cost me less to insure the Granada with all modifications declared than it cost to insure the Fiesta. And I'm talking to the insurance company and I'm like, are you for real? We're talking a 1.1 Fiesta and now I've got an 150 brake horse Mark II Granada that I've modified and I'm 18. Well, you see, you've put all this work into it, so you're not going to abuse it, you're going to drive it sensibly, because that's what the statistics said. So I rubbed my hands together and walked away, quite smug in the fact that they were never ever at that point going to see how I was actually going to drive the fucking thing. And that car was responsible for more black lines up and down Astley's main roads than any other vehicle known to man.
I'd just like to pull it to chat for a second. David says he drives a Saab. He's not quite sure what that says about him.
Sensible. Saabs are good cars. I have a lot of time for Saabs. I think they get a fair rap.
Always wanted a Saab.
As long as you don't drive a Lexus or a Merc or a VW at the moment, you're right.
Lexuses are they're actually proven to be useful to the right people. I know more than a few people that have pulled V8s out of old LS400s and stuck them in Land Cruisers and various other off-road buggies, and they're a very, very, very good engine. I've got nothing bad to say about Lexus. You go forever. I have come to appreciate Japanese engineering with regards to engines. They are fantastic asset.
Edward Black says, I had a loan of a Saab 900 when the missus was pregnant to visit her in hospital. Cracking motor.
They are. The only thing odd about Saabs is that the ignition key's under the fucking handbrake. On the more classic ones. But as a vehicle, they are fantastic.
I'm trying to think of the last car I owned. I think it was a 1963 Morris Minor 1098 four-door.
Another classic motor nowadays.
Yeah,
Mine was a Rover 416.
Well, I brought my Moggy from a postman for 50 quid. And then did a little bit of work on it because it was almost in bits when I got it, and then somebody knocked on the door and offered me over $1,000 for it.
Yeah. To the right person, they're worth a lot of money.
And they sent it over to Malta, where it's a nice climate over there. It's a nice, you don't get a lot of rust on the cars and stuff, so.
The car I had before, well, I had a Daihatsu 4-track, and before that I had a Suzuki that I built up. And if I think on, I'll stick the pictures of my Suzuki and just vape social. That was fun. When I bought it, it looked like Postman Pat's van. And it looked quite different by the time I sold it.
At one point, I was going to have my granddad's old little Suzuki Jimmy, but the long wheelbase version.
Jimny or Vitara. Jimnys weren't long wheelbase.
I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was a Jimmy.
Jimnys were only ever sold in one, unless you mean an old SJ, which was pre-Jimny.
I don't know, it's been that long ago.
Oh, we had a Vitara once.
I remember when he put it on the drive, and it was grey, and then after about 4 hours of cleaning it, it actually came up as white. That was a surprise to everybody.
I'd say it was an S.J.
Probably.
And again, to the right people, the old long wheelbase S.J.'s were worth a shitload of money because they were more stable when you were off-roading.
It's all about weight distribution.
The best thing about Suzuki's was we used to go to off-road play parks and there'd be lumps where Land Rovers got stuck. Because Land Rovers do get stuck all the time. They're shite. And because there's so many people have Land Rovers, the same holes get dug out and it's exactly where they cross-axle themselves and one wheel spins away. And the best thing about Suzuki's was because they were a different wheelbase, you didn't drop into the same holes, so you didn't get hung up. So you'd have Land Rovers going at something, trying to go up the obstacle, and they've got nowhere. And then you booted along in a piece of shit Suzuki that you paid 400 quid for, and just pissed off it and laughed at it. It was great fun.
Ed says, I had to phone the father-in-law to find out how to get the bloody ignition key out the barrel. Apparently you need to put it in reverse to get the key out in the Saab?
Yeah. Yeah. They had some odd personality traits.
Yeah, but it's like somebody who's constantly driven a manual going into like a modern automatic where you can't actually pull off unless you've got your foot on the brake. You gotta have your foot on the brake and then I can't remember exactly what it is, but you gotta have your foot on the brake, then you've got to shift it into drive, and if your foot's not on the brake when you shift it into drive, it just won't do anything.
It's like modern sprinters. They won't start without you pressing the clutch in. That's annoying. Well, it is from my point of view, because I don't often sit in stuff when I start it. I just walk to the door and start it up to test it on the fridge.
So, David said must be an older Saab thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the 90s shaped Saabs, they had the key under the steering, under the handbrake lever, was in the centre console, which I never understood how the steering lock works, because generally your steering lock's just on the bottom of your barrel. But Saabs were also one of the first vehicles that had lights on when you run them. They were doing that years before it became law that new vehicles had to turn the lights on just to start them.
I don't know.
Me either.
It's like 3-point seat belts. Everyone has 3-point seat belts. Do you know who initiated that?
That was 70s, wasn't it? 1970 something.
It was Volvo. They designed the 3-point seat belt system and they made it open source. Anyone can have it. As opposed to Ford, who came up with the idea of putting heaters in the front windscreen, which is a fantastic invention.
Especially over here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, it's brilliant. But nothing but Fords can have it, because Ford patented it and said, fuck you, that's our thing, and that's it.
While we're on patents involving motor vehicles, did you know that the person who invented the windscreen wiper was a lady, and she didn't actually patent the design at all, and nobody took it up while she was alive. As soon as she died and the design was, you know, free for anybody to use then, everybody started putting windscreen wipers on cars. Before that, you used to have somebody walking alongside the vehicle who would wipe the screen for you.
Well, it's like Goodyear. Goodyear tyres have nothing to do with the person who invented vulcanised rubber, which is the reason we have pneumatic tyres that we have now. Well, the guy couldn't afford to patent it, so everyone just ripped him off. And Goodyear was basically only named as a kind of mark of respect. It was nothing to do with the person that invented vulcanizing rubber.
Now, was it vulcanized rubber was invented on accident, or was it that matches were invented on accident? Because they were invented during the same process, but I can't remember which was invented. I think it might have been the rubber, actually, that was the accident.
I'm not sure.
Because I know through the process of experimenting for one, they managed to create the other. And then for all, that's actually quite a good idea. So, I don't know. I have random bits of information stuck in my head. I'm sorry. Every now and then I've just got to...
Drain it.
Yeah.
They just come out.
Right, we have waffled on about vehicles for a little bit, and now I would like an update from Gords. Gords, you haven't had a PC running for a while. How are you getting on with the new setup you have?
Well, generally I'm alright. I mean, it's got Windows 10 on it, which is quite a diversion from Windows XL or whatever it was I last had on the computer. Generally I'm alright. I'm sort of getting there with it. I'm still a bit threatening it with hammers occasionally. But I believe that's part of computer ownership.
That is most definitely part of computer ownership. It goes with consoles as well now, because they're almost the same thing.
With regards to clicking backwards and forwards between chat, I'm just ignoring chat, I'll be honest. You can see that Sean has a 3.2 Vectra.
If you actually go into the chat, on the bottom, there's a little symbol.
I see it.
It says pop, and when you hover over it, it says pop out. If you click that, you can then put it above the hangout, and then you can just keep an eye on it while...
Yeah, just stick it over the little pictures of us.
It's not actually... I think there's something I need to adjust on my Windows to sort it out, because it's not playing games.
Why, what's up?
So it appears that because I've got Hangouts in a different tab entirely, it's just not playing games.
I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yeah,
Your Hangout, is it actually like a normal internet window, or is it just got a solid...
it's a tab on Chrome.
Yeah, if you grab it by the tab bit and then just hover it over the tab bit on the other window you've got open, it will put it on there anyway. You can merge tabs.
Yes.
Right, let's have a play at that then.
David says, how are you finding Cortana?
I haven't played with Cortana yet. How do you do that?
If you go into the bottom left of your screen, Keith, you know where your start menu is?
Uh-huh.
There should be... Oh no, I got rid of it. Yeah. I don't... Oh yeah, no. On your start menu, one of the boxes should be Cortana. It's a circle. Just looks like a circle.
Groove music. We speak Gmail. We speak Yahoo. No.
Basically, I can't stand Cortana. Because I can't stand...
I don't think I've got one anyway.
Oh, apparently, or you can just say, hey Cortana.
Hey Cortana. No.
I think because your mic's being used to do this, Keith, I don't think it will.
I don't think I've got one anyway. All I've got is store, get office.
If you're on Windows,
like the Windows version of Siri.
basically, yeah, but it's named after the AI from excuse me, it's named after the AI from the Halo series of games, which is a lot better name than Siri, because fuck Mac. David has put a link in for a Windows 10 fixing tool, which happens to be a £7 sledgehammer. My only issue with that is I prefer a 14 or a £12 hammer. Just saying.
I've already got a decent sledgehammer which also has a fiberglass shaft for less wrist damage when you...
I think I'll leave Cortana alone.
One of my favourite tools when I was working in the building trade was actually, you know the big 6-foot pry bars? Use them for breaking up concrete and stuff.
Got one of them as well.
Yep.
Yes, I've got a nice crowbar as well.
We used to call her the Pride of Britain because proudly stamped on the side of her it had "Made in Sheffield." And she is my favourite tool that I've ever used because she is literally just brute force. And sometimes when you're on a building site you just need to use a bit of brute force. Sometimes it's not about the careful, measure twice, cut once sort of mentality. It's just about the what's going to get the job done quickly.
Yeah. Break it. Smash it. Break.
That is an extremely satisfying tool, but probably not much use to most people. I've got a 5-foot felling axe.
Nice.
That used to be my stress relief when I first got home from work at my old house, because I had a good selection of timber at that point. Head out into the backyard with the axe and slice up some wood into kindling.
I do appreciate a good axe.
Sounds good to me, mate.
I've got a selection.
I can't be dealing with the hand axes. I mean, hand axes are okay, but I can't be it's got to be a full-length axe.
Hand axes are literally for just splitting small bits of timber. Once you got to a stage where it's a bit ridiculous to hold it with one hand and swing a 5-foot shaft with the other and not chop your hand off, that's when you get the hand axe out.
Yeah, I've got a hand axe, so I haven't got the big, long, proper...
The big one, it's all about power, but not power you're putting in. It extends your power.
We have a Ridian.
Ahoy hoy, Ridian. Ridian, who's just returned from the States last week, I believe.
I have Ridias. Nosda Ridders. No, Nosweth Ridders, not Nosda, that's bye-bye.
Still saws are good, Sean, but they do have limited use in some applications. Chainsaws are good.
I like steel
Yes,
saws.
chainsaws are very good.
I'm not a fan of chainsaws.
Why?
Well, I kind of am, but I don't know. I mean,
What's wrong with chainsaws?
because if I'm cutting a tree down, I would prefer to use an axe to do it.
Too much work. Chainsaws are easier.
I know you say that, but to use a chainsaw to cut a tree down, it's not as simple as just cutting through the tree. You still got to do your cutaway, and you still got to make sure the tree falls properly.
Now you just cut it into bits from the top.
Have you ever climbed a ladder with, a proper full-size petrol chainsaw?
No, because I'm sensible. I climbed the ladder with a rope, let the rope down onto the floor, and then I pull the chainsaw up afterwards, once I'm settled.
Yeah. See, Gores knows what he's doing.
Ain't nobody got time for rope.
Do you know, back in the day, I had to go to my friend's place. He had a farm. Well, his mum had a farm, and we had some trees that needed extracting. But his mum was renting out some of the area on the farm to people who owned caravans. And I agree, Sean. Yes, they are good for that. But we had to get rid of these trees. But these trees, the first branch was 30 foot in the air. and we had no ladder. So I actually monkey scaled up the tray to, obviously we're into 4-wheel drive, so we had straps and ropes and all sorts of stuff. And I scaled this tray, got up onto the branch and fixed it, and it was like, how the fuck am I going to get down now? Because I basically gripped. It was one of those trees that had deep furrows in the bark. So I'd used the bark as grips to get up. So we ended up with another strap up there, the rope fastened off up the tray and fastened to a 4-wheel drive. My friend then pulled the rope tight. I threw the strap over the rope and got myself down far enough away from the trunk, and then he reversed the car back and lowered me down. And then what we ended up doing was, one of us sat in the 4-wheel drive, putting tension on the rope, the other one operating the chainsaw to ensure that the trees fell just so, and then we could slice them up. That was a fun afternoon.
Yeah, but that's a legitimate thing. They actually do that in proper, like, when they're cutting down a large amount of trees, that's one of the techniques they would, you know.
I can tell you that it's a nerve-inducing thing being sat in a 4-wheel drive waiting for your friend to fire up a chainsaw and then say, right, start driving, knowing that it's quite possible you misjudged and the tree that's coming down might come down before you get further than the total height of the tree. That was fun.
Just going back to chat, obviously Sean said about the still store. David said, looks like you chaps are ready for the zombie apocalypse then. Yes, David, we are. In fact, I have a plan, and you don't live that far away from the plan, so just get yourself to the Shrubble Industrial Estate when the shit happens and you'll be okay. Ash says he prefers his blue screwdrivers. Well, I got news for you, Ash. The black ones are far superior to the blue ones.
I will be honest, part of the zombie apocalypse plan does involve the fact that the truck I've got is more than capable. So in the event of a zombie apocalypse, the first thing I have to do is find enough diesel to get down towards Ryan's neck of the woods, pick up Ryan and G.
Or head down to Worcester and Gourds or sort of out.
But given my current surroundings, I'd probably then be dragging you all back up north.
I don't know, man. I got a pretty solid plan. There's a supermarket like 5 minutes away, walk 5 minutes from where I work, so there's plenty of food and water stock that we can steal. There's also, you know, I got a garage and a fabrications workshop on site.
Do you have a guard's cave?
I can give you a gourd cave. There's plenty of empty offices. You can have one. You just take your pick. Some of them are self-contained as well. They got their own kitchen and toilet.
I already have a tooled up guard's cave.
So, I mean...
At least Keith has enough power for the apocalypse.
Oh, power's not an issue. Power is really not an issue in the apocalypse. All you need is enough generators and you need to be smart with it.
Have we got enough cables, Ryan?
Well, the thing is, it's like...
Anybody needs any USB cables?
It's like... If the apocalypse hit, us lot aren't going to use 18650 torches, right? Purely put, because we need those 18650s for something else.
I have enough 18650s to run plenty of torches, and I have chargers that work off 12 volts. So you only need the vehicle and the charge. What the fuck do you mean I'm not using 18650 torches? I'm not playing that game.
Alright, you can use 18650 torches.
I also have 26650 torches and 32650 torches.
Gourds don't fuck about, man.
The main thing to remember during the zombie apocalypse is guns are only useful against humans. The reason being is ammunition will become scarce at some point. So learning to rely on a firearm is very, very dangerous.
Guns are largely not useful anyway, because despite what every single film that's made that involves zombies in England shows, you're not going to find ammo or the guns. You might be lucky enough to raid a gun shop, but unless you're tooled up, you're not getting the ammo out of there. Guns are a very restricted thing, and people being dead isn't going to change that fact.
You are much better with a cricket bat, a baseball bat, or an axe. Something
Or
that...
all three.
Guards can just run them over.
To me, if you're talking about guns that are available for a zombie apocalypse, all the guns are going to do is allow you to hunt local wildlife, because all you can get hold of is air rifles, and all you can use legally available air rifles for is hunting rabbits and stuff. So guns aren't for hunting zombies, guns are for food.
Yeah.
Which is...
the States, situation would change.
Yeah, but in the States you can own a fully automatic rifle and call it a sports weapon.
If you're in the right state.
Yeah, a fully automatic weapon in no way, shape or form is a sports weapon.
It's hardly sporting going after a deer with a fucking submachine gun.
No.
Not really, no.
If you can't take something down in one shot, you should not be allowed to have the weapon in the first place.
No.
I agree 100%. When I was seriously hunting, I bet that me and my friend that the two of us were going out together, and I bet we shot off 700 rounds of ammunition for every shot that was fired that resulted in the kill. Because we spent so much time practicing, ensuring that at whatever range we were shooting at, we'd hit what we were shooting at.
That's the main thing. I mean, I was taught to shoot by my granddad, who told me if you can't make the shot, you don't attempt the shot.
No.
And you've always got to be cautious and careful in the shot that you take. You've got to be very wary of everything that's around. You can't just be zoned in on what you're attempting to shoot. You've got to be watching around it as well, because if that, for a rabbit, for instance, rabbits can quite easily just take a sudden turn somewhere else.
Our rule was, if we couldn't put 5 pellets into a 15mm disc at 40 yards, we weren't hunting that weekend.
Seems fair to me.
Because a 15mm disc is roughly the size of the kill zone on a rabbit with a legal limit rifle, air rifle.
Brilliant, we go live at 8 o'clock. I don't start shows at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock's a weird time.
Always go live at 8 o'clock, Ridders. Always. You should know this by now.
Everything else I do that involves being live on the internet happens at 8 PM. Therefore, I'm not changing the time of JV Live, because JV Live fits well at 8 PM, because then I haven't got to worry about what time I'm on, because I just know it's 8 PM.
Well, it's not only that. When have we ever finished at 9 o'clock? We're not like VTTV that does half a job.
Ooh.
Cheers, Gord.
We're regularly online 2 hours after we started.
That's good. Brilliant. You say you know nothing, but you know more than you let on. You're a very intelligent man.
Yes,
and you should know.
He's a very, very intelligent man.
Right, now we've been nice to Ridders. We can stop being nice to Ridders. It's okay to not be nice to Ridders now.
Ridders,
to Ridders now.
But Ridders, I have responded to the post that you were concerned about earlier tonight.
Internet. On a Friday, my sights are set. I have one thing to do, which reminds me, I still need to reply to somebody who asked me a question yesterday, which I asked Keith about, and now that's sorted.
What was that?
I'm not going to say it on air because I don't want to name names, but what we were talking about in the admin chat yesterday, I still haven't got round to doing that because I was busy. I've been making maps for D&D, and I've just found a new technique so I can make them real quick. So.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
I didn't respond to that.
Sean says,
interesting toys.
before we had the licenses taken off, I was a member of the Bonsall Gun Club. I had a 9mm CZ and a 450 long Colt. With the long Colt, you'd be lucky to hit an elephant 10 foot.
I'm willing to bet that Sean lost quite a bit of money on those guns when he had to sell them, because I remember all that happening. I wasn't a firearms shooter, but I was a shotgun shooter and was quite friendly with a gun dealer near us, and there were a lot of people lost an awful lot of money with regards to that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame, really, because I don't disagree with the change in the rules where you couldn't have certain things.
I do.
Well, I think guns should only be accessible for those who have the intelligence to actually use them for what they're designed for, rather than using them.
But they were then only available for people prepared to put the effort in to own them. It's over 40 years since you could just go and... Exactly, Sean, I agree. It was just a knee-jerk reaction to an obscure situation. When you look at the number of shooters that there are in England, who they did put the effort in, you know, everyone had proper safes and everything else, and a couple of people, granted, we had actual massacres and it wasn't nice, but I can't help thinking that the whole reaction was massively overinflated for what the actual problem was, and the net result was an awful lot of weapons ended up on the streets.
Yeah.
That really can't be a good idea. Rather than the weapons being in the hands of people who are sensible and put the effort in to own them legally, those weapons are now owned by some dick with 200 quid.
I think maybe the way they should have actually approached it is, rather than forcing the weapons back, what should have happened was a reassessment of the situation. Existing license owners should have been contacted and should have had their spot visits, which if you've got a gun license, you know that you could get a spot visit at any time anyway to come and investigate, which is... Most gun owners will quite happily say, yeah, okay, fine, come on.
Well, the thing is, alright, there was a lot of shit in Moss Side they made in the 90s, but they were all illegally held weapons. There's only been, that I can think of, there's only been 3 assaults carried out by people who illegally owned weapons in England's history. And there are thousands of legal gun owners who they do everything they need to do. The hoops you have to jump through just to get a rifle or a pistol, or even then, never mind now. It's the same for a shotgun certificate. But for all those people that own those weapons, the actual incidents are bordering on insignificant, which I apologise to the families of people who were victims of that. But if you look at it, there's far more people killed on the roads every day. Never mind in total, than there are people killed by legally owned firearms.
Which is true.
I mean, it's very true, and I mean, unfortunately, the problem is we look at things in a very British sort of standpoint a lot of times, and that can be our downfall in a lot of ways. We want to be known as this really safe sort of nation, but it doesn't matter what gun controls you put in. It's always going to be easier to go out there and get an illegal firearm than it is to get a legal firearm anyway. Because if you've got the cash in your pocket and you make enough inquiries in the right places, you can get anything you want.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that if I really tried, I could get hold of, you know, an automatic, a submachine gun or something like that, pretty easy.
Well, let's put it in context. There's kids mooching about Manchester with submachine guns. Kids.
So there is, yeah.
Not adults. The net result of the whole changes in the gun licenses wasn't to make anywhere any more safer. It actually, I agree that my dad's got the drawings for the various pistols. And to be fair, a Colt 45 is just an old revolver. They were designed to be made in sheds.
I like old revolvers. Actually, not necessarily revolvers. One of my favourites is the volcanic pistol, which was one of the first
fully auto pistols.
Yeah. Fucking brilliant.
All the laws have done is lowered the number of people who've been legally vetted to own a firearm. But it's made no dent on the number of illegal firearms that are out there.
It's like Ryan says, let's face it, if you want to get a gun of whatever description, you can get one. If you want to get one badly enough, you can get one. There's no question about that.
Well, to be brutally honest, as technology moves on, you can 3D print a fucking gun now.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You can 3D print a gun.
Wow. I mean, it depends. I mean, that one that hit the news a couple of years ago about 3D printing a gun, that was all bullshit. The actual thing didn't work. But now that we have 3D printers that will actually basically cast in metal, because 3D printing is moving in leaps and bounds, and it's going so fast. It started with just one type of plastic. Now it's about 20 different types of plastic. You can print wood in it. Alright, it's not proper wood, but it's kind of like MDF sort of wood, which is built in a resin and then obviously melts down and whatnot. But now there are 3D printers out there that can cast in metal. Now obviously if you're going to print a firearm with one of these, it's going to need a lot of cleaning up and stuff before it's even ready for testing. But the technology is there. It's not impossible to do it. I mean, we got 3D printers that can print food, for fuck's sake.
Well, the thing is, like Ed says, if you know enough and you're of that mind, making a gun isn't difficult. They were making guns 400 years ago.
Yeah.
It's not going to be as sophisticated as like a Barrett sniper rifle. But if you want to spray someone's brains over the walls, you don't necessarily need a Barrett sniper rifle to do it.
No. A basic firearm is easy enough to make.
I mean, I can pretty much make one in the garage.
There's a zip gun. If you've ever heard of a zip gun, they're quite common in prisons and stuff like that. Basically, it's a one-shot sort of pistol that's manufactured on extremely low cost, usually just a pipe and little bits and pieces extra.
It's quite literally a one-use weapon.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 9 times out of 10 with a zip gun, it's 50-50 chance of it blowing up in your hand and a 50-50 chance of it actually doing what it's supposed to do. But the
Exactly,
print...
David.
There we go. I mean, you look at old flintlock pistols and stuff like that. Even before flintlock, when you had the old powder pistols, you used to have to put powder in the breech and light it and then hold it away from your face and hope for the best.
But the thing is, it's not difficult to... You can buy good steel. If you can operate a lathe and a milling machine, you can make a sophisticated gun, because none of them are complicated. They're really not. When you start properly looking at the workings of a gun, nothing complicated about them. They're not advanced machinery. So anyone who's an engineer can make one if they chose to.
I just want to quickly put it back to Ash's comment, can you print Big Macs? No, Ash, I said you can print food.
I agree entirely.
While we're at it, can we get away from the subject of making guns, please?
Are you getting that?
No, it's just that I don't want people who are watching this to get any ideas.
Guns are bad, okay? It's fine, it's on my YouTube channel, it'd be perfectly fine. Oxymoron, limited liability company and all that.
The point is,
I just don't want this program to get any bad reputation, that's all.
Too fucking late.
the point of the conversation, all that O.L.A.S.T.H did, and the refinements of the O.L.A.S.T.H, is not make society a safer place, though everyone believes it did. It simply meant that more people who were prepared to put the effort in to do things legally and legitimately, because they have an honest interest, they can't get hold of them. But people who have nefarious reasons, they can still just as easily get hold of a weapon if they want to.
Yeah.
The whole difference is that most people who want guns don't buy guns because they want a weapon. They buy guns as part of a hobby or an interest that
Yeah.
they care about and don't want to jeopardise. So all it did was meant that those people are now having to do without. But the people that want guns for nefarious reasons, they're still just as unrestricted as they always were.
Uh-huh. Yes.
For everybody who's watching, I've actually dropped a link into chat for you all because we're talking about guns and them not killing you. So I decided Goldie looking chain was probably a must.
Yeah. I like that, Ryan.
The fact is, if you wanted to do some damage, you'd be much better just spending a few £100 on a piece of shit car. You could harm far more people far more easily.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You would.
So we've talked about... What did we start off talking about tonight? Cars. Cars. We've talked about cars.
SNES cartridges.
Yeah. You still don't understand why they're worth money?
No, I kind of get that now.
Right. Going back to that quickly, I will say you did say they're PCBs. They're not PCBs. They're pieces of history. Alright. And
Piece of crap.
you will never get the experience playing on an emulator what you get actually playing on the original console. Simple as that. And that's why they're worth the money, because people who love the gaming industry and love playing games in general love playing them in their original format, which is why I said to you a few weeks back when you shared that picture that it was all wrong because the guy had a flat screen TV. He needed a CRT monitor for half of those consoles.
Yeah, it's the difference between aficionados and users, like any collector's industry.
Did you see that picture, Gord?
No, I didn't.
It was a picture of, what was it, Ryan? It was all the old consoles set up in a room.
It was basically every single major console. There were a few missing, by the way, and if I look at it again, I can probably tell you what they are. I know for a fact that one was a Panasonic 3DO, and I don't blame them for missing that, because the Panasonic 3DO, if anybody who doesn't know this, was a console that was released by Panasonic that cost over $1,000 when it was first released. I don't even think it got a full-on British release. I know a few people had them.
You could get it in this country.
Yeah, not very many places though. It's very limited because it was discontinued the year after it was actually made. There's only about 14, 15 games for it, and most of them are shite.
It was another tale of something that was launched without any support. And as we've seen, what every single launch needs is people invested in the technology.
Which is why I never brought into Blu-rays, because quite frankly I believe digital media is the future.
I never bought into Blu-rays simply because I flatly refused to completely replace my entire DVD collection.
Oh man, that would take me so fucking long.
Yeah.
I've only just finished replacing my VHS collection on DVD a couple of years ago. There is no way I'm starting again and going on the Blu-ray, considering half of the stuff was difficult to get on DVD and most of it isn't even on Blu-ray.
I will be back in a minute.
I agree with you, Ryan. I think the days of having like bookshelves full of boxes with something in are behind us.
The thing is, it's because I play games quite a lot, and I'm quite lazy when it comes to swapping out games. They either end up in the case of the game that I'm actually swapping in, or they end up on the side in front of the TV, which means they probably get damaged, which means I then have to go out and buy the game again. And then I'm buying the game 2 or 3 times every time I want to play it, so digital media is brilliant.
Well, yeah, like I said before, I've got 3 kids, 2 of them are toddlers. My DVD collection has been destroyed. And it's a collection that costs hundreds of pounds to create. I'm not gonna buy it all again. But now I don't have to. You can access stuff if you want to watch it. And you have the convenience of using a remote control to do so.
David says, no, you will have to pay each time you want to watch it. It's the future. Maybe on Apple TV? I'm not quite sure.
Sensible.
And it's the same thing with games. I mean, if you've got Steam, older games are relatively cheap on Steam, but if you wait for one of the Steam sales to pick up a load of older games, pick them up for next to nothing. And then when you've got them, they never disappear, providing that Steam never goes bust, which I don't think it will, but
I think Steam's managed to get to the point where it's unlikely that's ever going to happen.
yeah, it is extremely unlikely, but
Very unlikely.
But one of the things a lot of people don't understand about Steam is you're not technically actually buying the game, you're leasing the game from Steam for whatever price they're selling it to you.
You're buying the rights to access the software.
Yeah. So as long as Steam carry on trading, in it doesn't matter which form, if they get sold to somebody else, whoever it is has to uphold that. It's part of the licensing agreement. But yeah, it's one of those things. But Steam now has been running for a good long while. It's the platform of choice for a lot of people, and I don't see it going anywhere.
I love Steam.
David says Laserdisc is the way forward.
Mm.
I've watched films on Laserdisc, and I will have to say, having to swap out the Laserdisc 4 or 5 times to watch a film is the most disorientating and annoying thing possible.
I think we're rapidly progressing towards a stage where you'll own nothing. And
Weren't they about the size of old LPs as well?
They were pretty much, I think they were slightly bigger, if not about the same size.
they were about like for like.
Yeah. David says terms and conditions can change at the stroke of a button. Yes, they can. However, Steam is not run by Apple, which means that they won't change the T's and C's that much just to be a dick. Anybody in chat who likes Apple, I do apologize. You have bad taste.
Very. The only Apple thing I'm involved in is iTunes.
Oh, no. Don't even go iTunes, because
I flatly refuse to have iTunes on any computer that I own.
I've spent about £250 on iTunes.
nope, won't do it. I constantly hate iTunes.
I do have quite a large iTunes collection.
The fact Pink Floyd managed to sue iTunes for selling the individual tracks is a landmark victory in my book. If nobody knows the case, basically, if you've ever listened to a Pink Floyd album, which I assume you have, Keith,
Yes,
you know you're supposed to listen to it from start to finish.
yes.
It
is a story.
Yeah, that's the way the album is laid out. And Pink Floyd's entire thing was, yes, you can sell the album, but I don't want you selling the individual tracks.
Uh-huh.
So you can sell the individual tracks as an album, and then people can just listen to the ones they want if they wish, or they can listen to the entire album, but you can't sell individual tracks. And it's because of that they actually managed to do it. I think Metallica sued them as well for something or other, but
Metallica wasn't even on there for a good while.
yeah, it's the same thing.
Or was it Spotify?
Um,
It wasn't on Spotify for a good while.
I'm not entirely certain, but I know Metallica have always been a bit funky when it comes to digital music.
Uh-huh.
Because they were one of the main antagonists in the whole Napster thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, the problem is you take away Napster, and alright, people can't use Napster to get free music, but there's an entire internet out there.
Yes.
So
Used to be tied to Apple.
it's not that, and the reason I refuse to have iTunes on my computer full stop is because once you've got iTunes on your computer, it is very, very difficult to actually get rid of it completely.
Exactly.
I've actually literally gone into my computer and changed everything, even tried fresh reinstalls and stuff like that, and there's little bits of it hanging around. I've had to change everything to get rid of iTunes because it is a pain in the ass. And it takes like a month to fucking load. It doesn't matter on the system, it takes a month to fucking load. iTunes just fucking ruined music, and then it ruined movies as well, because all of a sudden it's iTunes. Yes, we now have movies and podcasts. I don't want to keep going back to Apple for podcasts and movies and fucking music.
Don't bother with movies and podcasts. All I use it for is, I mean, I don't use it very often. It's very rare that I use it, but like I say, I've spent £250 on it over the years, and I do use it occasionally, but I never used it for movies or podcasts or anything, just music.
Do you know the only money I've ever given to Apple was for Final Fantasy games?
Uh-huh.
because when I had my original iPhone 3D, they brought out Final Fantasy 1 and 2 on the iPhone. Right, the actual proper Final Fantasy 1 and 2s. Was
Yeah.
playing them, they've changed half the shit. I was like, no, fuck it, forget it. And then the next phone I got wasn't that. I think it was the had a Sony. I think I had a Sony. Can't remember what I had now.
But it wasn't an Apple.
Yeah, no. My problem with Apple is they suck. They make 2 phones a year, which are exactly the same phone that they released the fucking year before. They either stick an S on the end of it or change the shape slightly and then give it an extra number. They fuck up their iOS so many fucking times, it's unbelievable. Half the apps don't work once you update the iOS. The company stopped giving money to charity in 1998, and even though now they're a multi-billion-dollar company, they give fuck all to charity. Bill Gates, for example, is at least giving money to try and create clean water in fucking Africa and places like this. But no, Apple, they just want your fucking money. The iPod was designed stolen from another company. The iPhone was stolen from another company. Everything they've ever done is stolen from somebody else, and they claim rights to it. They
make Macs.
They are a bunch of fucktards. And if I want to spend £1,000 on a computer, I can guarantee you now it's not going to have a 2 fucking gigahertz processor in it.
Can I just say, I've never given the set of cunts any money whatsoever, and I won't. It's that simple.
I just hope that that mini rant has given Sean some happiness.
Talking of rants, wasn't Gord going to have a rant at some point?
No.
Yes, you were.
No, Gord said if the time came he would have a rant. If the time hasn't come, then he's not going to have a rant.
No.
Maybe Keith would like to have a rant.
And the situation I'm not prepared to discuss that would invoke a rant, but I'm just not, because it's not fair on the parties involved. So no.
Okay, don't worry about it then.
Go on, Keith, what do you want to rant about? Come on, this is the rant time.
I don't do rants.
Well, maybe you should fucking start. It's good for you. I feel so good now I've had my little rant about Apple.
I don't do fucking, I've got nothing to fucking rant about.
Go on, rant about your FPS.
Oh, that fucking webcam shite. It was alright, but I don't know why it's fucking stupid fucking thing.
Come on, let it all out. This is my YouTube channel. There are no banned words. Come on.
For some reason, the stupid fucking webcam for the last 2 times I've been doing VTs for vapor trails, it's been recording them at 43 FPS and 53 FPS. When previously it was doing them at 30 FPS, which was fine because that's the frame rate that Vapor Trails wants the VTs doing at. And that's the frame rate that Magic's Movie Pro wants them exported at. Now the last 2 times I've done VT from my webcam, I've gone to do export movie, export as MPEG-4, and it said, I've gone to do it at 30 FPS, and it said, this movie is at 43 FPS, do you want to adjust it to 30? I said, what the fuck? Why is it 43 FPS all of a sudden? I said yes, adjust it then, fucking adjust it, you fucking stupid fucking webcam. So it's adjusted it, and I've gone to play it back to check it, and it's fucking all stuttery if I've played it back. I thought, well, that's no fucking good.
Driver upgrade the webcam.
Say that again, Gord.
Does the driver upgraded for your webcam?
All that's happened is that I've upgraded from Windows 7 to Windows 10, which Ryan has said that's probably why, because it's changed the drivers.
More than likely.
So I don't know. So I've had to upload to our Vapor Trails Google Drive account at 43 and 53 FPS instead of 30, which is what Vapor Trails wants me to upload them at.
Can I just have a moment to be small? Because I've done nothing with computers for 5 years. I've started from scratch, so I don't have this issue.
You also don't produce a show for the Premier Vaping Network, VTTV.
No, Sav's still down my way on Vapor Trails TV.
She said you're not, or you are?
That's essentially the vibe, isn't it?
I don't think I'm allowed on VTTV.
Not yet.
No, I'm not exactly outspoken.
You may be in the future, who knows?
I think Sav's logged out because I was expecting to rage at that, but...
Yeah, Sav's not in our chat anymore. She wasn't in there for very long, actually. She logged out a while ago.
Wait, no.
No, hang on. Sav's back.
I know I've been there before, but that's probably why I'm not only there now.
Oh, somebody's in trouble now.
There's certain barriers to entry that I've not passed.
Personally, I think it's probably best I never appear on VTTV in a capacity that will allow me freedom of speech in a live broadcast. Therefore, if I ever appear on VTTV, it will be in a pre-recorded segment that has probably been heavily edited.
Heavily. With a beep sound at the ready.
Oh dear, Sav's been here all along, Keith.
So why is there no VTTV in the chat thing there anyway?
Because it is Vapor Trails TV.
Ah, yes, there is.
See?
We just haven't noticed.
That's because she's been quiet.
You forget, Sav is the ninja of the internet.
Yes, Sav is definitely the ninja of the internet.
I would just like to take this moment to point out that JV Live is not sanctioned by VTTV in any way, shape or form, and for that I'm allowed to say what I say when I say it, because quite frankly it's going on to my YouTube channel, which is registered to me.
Yeah.
I'd just like to say that we love VTTV Live immensely. We really do. We appreciate what you guys all do.
Oh yeah, we
We like to take the piss as well.
I do like what VTTV does. It's just every time they've got a live broadcast, I'm doing something else, and then when it comes to the catch-up, I won't watch stuff that I actually want to watch at work because I can't watch it. Because as soon as I start getting into it, the phone will ring or somebody will call over the radio, and so
excuses, right?
Keith, I've had this conversation with you before. At work, I watch tripe. Complete and utter tripe. 9 times out of 10, I'm rewatching stuff on the Oxymoron Gaming site just to make sure it's okay. Because quite frankly, 9 times out of 10, I'm not interested in what's on there.
Ridian, that's not nice either. Sav's a wonderful person and we adore her.
Yes, Ash, I agree with you totally, mate.
Exactly, Ash.
That definitely deserves more recognition.
To be honest, Ash, the tech issues generally aren't on VTTV's side anyway. It's usually down to Google, from what I've experienced of it.
Yeah.
And knowing,
People don't bitch. That's all that I've seen. We'll gently take the mickey.
There are some that bitch about the technical issues.
I said one fucking comment. Oh wait, no wait, never mind.
I've never seen some serious bitching.
No, I mean,
Not serious bitching, but there are people that, you know, have a bit of a moan about it.
well, it's like I said. I mean, 9 times out of 10. I mean, I know they've shifted over to using the Hangouts rather than using Skype because it's a lot easier for a lot of people coming into it. But it's usually a Google issue that's the problem. It's not on their end. There's not a lot they can do about that, other than creating their own complete interface. In which case, it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but it's highly improbable that anybody's going to have the time and skills to do that. It takes a lot to create a Skype or a Google Hangouts and stuff. Well, yeah, sounds right. I mean, they want to show and they don't want to wait, but at the same time, they got to put up with a little bit when it comes to Google, because quite frankly, Google owns half the internet, and Google still sucks at developing it properly.
Yeah, plus there's a point the internet is not 100% reliable.
John's just took the words out of my mouth. If you don't fucking like it, don't log in.
Exactly.
I think Sab's ace because she tolerates my circumventing of the swear filter, and she has done for months. And I don't know if she just puts that down to my own unique personality or what.
Nobody lets me get away with my unique personality.
I'm going to ask a question to Sav now. What do you think of Gord's new setup?
This could be a long wait because I can't remember how long the delay is on Google Hangouts.
Well, yeah.
I've got to say, to be fair, I'm permitted an extreme leeway with VTTV chat.
I've always said, Gords, if it gets past the filters, it's fine by me. I need 5 minutes for those filters.
And Gord says, love you, Sav. Creep.
No, Sab's not getting enough appreciation.
No, I know she doesn't.
I've got it easy because I use a phone for chat on VTTV Live, so I have options for what symbols are displayed. That's how I get past. I just program the phone.
Yeah,
So
you've got through with some rather choice words.
I assume you can read the chat, Keith.
Gord's setup seems fine. Not sure why you want to know. You know why I want to know, Sav.
Wait, what's this about dimwits?
Pardon?
Ash's comment.
Don't think people appreciate all the work that goes on behind the scenes, keeping the show on course, making sure the shows are cropped, edited, etc. Keeping an eye on dimwits like the other evening. It's not just sitting there twiddling thumbs.
I must have seen that show. I've not seen anything problematic for months, not only weeks.
Ashley, you need to explain these dimwits that you speak.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because if it's who I think it is, then there might be another rant entailed.
Is good your dripper for Monday, Keith? No, he's not my dripper for Monday.
No, the time has passed for what
He's
me.
possibly something else for Monday then. Possibly.
We'll see, because the time sort of passed for what we initially talked to it.
No.
Right, you two talk to one another for a moment. I need to pop off for a second. Make
No
a
way.
quick phone call.
Hurry up then. You're the host of the show.
Who, Sean?
There was a bit of an arse on the other night.
I think I must just be
Yeah.
that's oblivious.
I need to have a chat with you after Gorge.
Okay. It wasn't me.
No, it definitely wasn't you.
I'll be honest now, Sav. I've not seen anything that I would consider a problem for months. But then I circumvent the swear filter, so maybe I'm not the best judge of character.
Yes, even the host needs a pee sometimes, Ed. That's true.
No, Sav, we were generally asked to answer your question before, why do we want to know? We're testing a whole new setup and no longer mobile or anything. So we're making sure that shit's right, and if it's not, we'll address that.
Yep.
So think of this as like a live test. Set up. I've just been presented with a huge plate of food. I'm not quite sure what to do with it.
What'd I miss?
Not a lot.
Crawl into South.
You didn't miss much, mate.
That's not true, Sav. You don't get the odd one now and then, because I haven't actually been in the VTTV chat for a while.
Apparently somebody was moaning about the glitches. Well, if you're moaning about the glitches, then we don't need him in chat, do we?
If he wants like terrestrial broadcast quality stuff, then really he needs to watch terrestrial TV.
Tell him to go and watch BBC One.
Exactly.
It's fine. Ash has explained what's gone on. I know exactly what's gone on. I'm not going to mention what's gone on, but I will be looking into the matter.
I think I know what he's on about.
Yeah, I'll talk to you once we've finished airing this, because I don't want stuff made public.
Yeah, I know what he's on about.
Yes. But it sticks to me. Don't get me wrong, I don't watch VTTV very often, but I do appreciate everything that they do. And the only reason I tend not to watch VTTV is, like I said, because when it's on live, I'm not there.
You're remarkably busy.
I am. I play D&D on a Monday. I play D&D on a Wednesday. I play Skittles on a Tuesday. Thursday is my chill out day. Friday is JV Live. And Saturday is my fuck it, let's get drunk day.
And gaming. Don't forget about gaming then.
Oh, there's gaming in between, don't worry about that. But yeah, I mean...
Exactly, Sean.
I don't think you can call my show normal, Sean. Definitely not normal. I am not normal.
You know that Bob has an impersonator on Twitter.
Yes, Ash, I definitely am going to slap you one day, mate.
The weird caveat on that is that Ash will probably like it when you slap him.
Yes, probably.
Unquestionably.
He
Hey.
probably will.
When did Gourds get food?
I was presented with it.
While you were going for a Jimmy.
I was actually on the phone, thank you very much.
Can I just reiterate my point? Did you know that Bob the Random has a imitator on Twitter who has their own gaming YouTube channel?
No.
I was not aware of that.
I think that they are a vapor. And basically it came up, Bob the Random, on my Twitter feed earlier in the week.
Thank you very much, Sean. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I was a touch confused and investigated. And ended up at a YouTube channel. I think it's called. It's either called Alan and Paul Play Games or something similar. And I'll be honest, it's worth watching.
Wait, hang on. Better than my gaming videos, or?
I didn't say it was better. I said it was worth watching.
Because there are like 999,999 gaming YouTubers out there better at what I do than me.
Yes, I'd just like to say 2 of those would be Scottish Geeks and Geek Etiquette.
And Markiplier.
And Markiplier, yeah.
And
If I had the choice, I would. No, I'll be honest. I think what they do is they play the game and then they do a voiceover of the replay of whatever footage they've shot. And it's worthwhile. If I wasn't so worried about everything dropping, I'd find it and put the link in chat. But it's worthwhile.
I'll find them. I usually find most gaming YouTube.
I'd just like to point everybody out to Sean's comment there. Being honest, Keith, I think you're one of the most down to earth on there. Talking of VTTV.
They're all very down to earth. Marco's very professional. I'll give him that.
I like Marco's set, you know, his virtual set thing. I'd love to get something like that.
Me and you need to talk, Keith. I can sort that out.
Can you?
Yeah, all you need is a green screen. Well, actually, you don't technically need a green screen because green screen is just a common colloquial. What you actually need is a chroma key background and a digital image of the set. And you can actually, because I'm doing this for one of the new shows that's coming to Oxymoron in the new year, which is Oxymoron News, where I'll be in front of a green screen, but I'll have a TV with a green screen, chroma key across the actual screen as well, so that I can just imprint the video footage onto that as I'm talking, and then behind me it will look like you ever watch like Sky News or BBC News where they got loads of people behind them?
Yeah,
it'd be like that. It's real easy to do.
Alright.
Do it in Vegas, and you're using Magix. I'm pretty sure you could probably do it in Magix as well. I haven't checked, but
yeah, there is a chroma key thing on there.
Yeah, it's just chroma key, and then you change a couple of the settings just to make it look right, and then looks alright. So yeah, me and you will talk at some point. Give me a little bit of time to play around with it myself, and then we can definitely sort out something for you chroma key wise. Because making a chroma key background is as simple as just getting a few pipes, putting them together. You can even use basic cheap plumbing pipe, PVC piping.
Yeah.
20 quid will make you a frame, and then you just get the chroma key over the back of it, and then you just transpose whatever image behind that.
Cool.
It's really, really fucking easy. It's not as difficult as it used to be 10 years ago when I first learned to do it, let's put it that way.
We need to talk.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like having a green screen but not on a vaping show because you can't bleed and vape. Well, you can, because with a chroma key background, what actually happens is it only keys out the color of the chroma key background. So if you choose something like a vibrant pink or something like that for your chroma key, as long as you're not wearing any vibrant pink. Now, obviously, I wouldn't choose a vibrant pink because the standard pigmentation in the skin can appear a little bit pink, and it might pick it out, and you might end up with bits of your face missing. I tend to prefer a blue or a green, like a day glow green.
So like a green screen then.
Sav hates green screen.
I like it, but only because what it can actually accomplish. If
Yeah.
you've got I wouldn't do green screen in a live broadcast, for instance, because it's just too much hassle. But in a video, I wouldn't mind it so much. But the main mistake a lot of people make with green screens or chroma key backgrounds is lighting.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Sean's just said. It's shadow pigments. What you've got to do is you've got to get the lighting right. If the lighting's not right, which will include a lighting rig, but I can teach you how to make a professional lighting rig for next to nothing anyway. It will just be all over the place. So it's worth looking into if you want to put the time and effort into actually making it. It takes a lot of fuckassery about to actually get to the point where it's ready to be done.
Yeah.
Sav's just said lighting's a nightmare. Lighting's not a nightmare if you've got an eye for it and you've got somebody who can help you. Very difficult to set up on your own with lighting, because obviously you need to be able to see what's going on as well as actually moving lighting about. So 9 times out of 10 you need 2 or 3 people.
Well, that's why me and Keith have been cocking about this week. Just at the moment, I'm ready for the idea that some of the lights that are up there might have to go behind me, or lower down, throwing lights up, or indirect lighting. It's trying to get it to look natural, because if I put my mini suns on now, I'll just turn white.
Yeah, but diffusers can take a lot of that away anyway.
Yeah,
so
LEDs aren't the best thing to use.
It's like when I was playing around making films. If you want to see film a daytime scene during the evening, you've got to set the lights up outside the building, so they've got to be on the outside of the windows where the light would normally be shining through anyway.
Yeah, shining in.
And then you've got to set up diffusers on the windows. And it works the same way if you're doing a daytime scene during a nighttime scene, during the daytime. You've got to put blue diffusers on, because of an evening you get a blue light opposed to an orange light. Very difficult when you work with blondes, but if you work with redheads, then it's fine, because redhead always gives you a natural sunlight sort of appearance.
Could we just take a moment to appreciate redheads, please?
I always appreciate redheads, especially when we're talking about lighting, because I love blondes, but blondes are too much work. They're too hot and they're too bright. Redheads are usually. For anybody who's watching,
Blondes are definitely hot.
We're entirely talking about lighting. Honest.
for anybody who's actually watching and doesn't understand the distinction between a blonde and a redhead, a blonde basically gives you a white light, and a redhead gives you an orange light. A redhead usually is a cooler lighting system, because obviously a white light is very difficult to accomplish. So your blondes are usually quite a vibrant light. Now nowadays these terms don't really apply because a lot of studios have gone to using LEDs. So I mean, LEDs are fantastic, but I still prefer the old school analog stuff in a lot of stuff.
The problem you got with LEDs is halogen bulbs have a CII rating of 100, which is the same as sunlight. So halogen bulbs give you a natural light. LEDs don't. It's that simple.
Yeah, you're playing with diffusers all the time.
The LEDs I've added, one is about 60 CRI, and the other is supposedly 92, if memory serves me correctly, which is very close. It's acceptably close, but I've got to figure out the positioning, because at the moment it's so intense that it's just too much. So I'm on halogens at the moment for my light, and again, because they're just slung above me, that's why my head looks white.
What you really want to do is get the lights in front of you but focused on you. But then you've got to have 2 or 3 so you negate shadows. And it's a hassle setting up lighting, because I've done it for a couple of projects for friends and stuff like that. Especially when we're in college and we've got no budget to make a film and everybody's just got to chip in and make everybody else's film. And it's like, oh, well, you're doing the lighting on this one. Why the fuck am I doing the lighting? Oh, because you did it so well on X's film.
In fairness, in my setup, actually having bulb holders would probably help, rather than the halogen bulbs just dangling off wires.
Nah, you don't need bulb holders. I wouldn't worry about that.
No bulb holders.
Believe it or not, nothing a decent sandwich box can't fix.
Sandwich box.
Sandwich box, line it with tin foil. Preferably not crinkled tin foil. This has got to be pristine tin foil.
Yeah.
And you can actually make a decent diffuser, so that when the light is reflecting off the back, because light obviously goes in every which direction it can, but you don't want it to when you're doing spotlighting and stuff like that, which is what you use for a lot of productions. You use spotlights, so you use the foil to actually bounce it back, and it helps break up a lot of the direct light as well. But still, I would advise putting a filter across the lens, across the lighting. I can go into this at depth at some point, but it's really not an interesting conversation.
It may be.
I'm talking to someone who bought a light meter,
Yeah.
and not for photography either.
I've never really relied on light meters. I've always done it by eye and done it by camera, because obviously I'm working with the camera, so the light meter it's a good aid, but until you actually look through the lens at what's being shot, then you have no real idea. And that's the problem with a lot of indie films and stuff like that, is the lighting just isn't there. The lighting is the problem, and that's the issue with a lot of indie stuff. Same with indie games. Sometimes the lighting just isn't right. They'll have a candle that puts out 70 or 80 foot of light when a candle doesn't. A candle puts out maybe 20 foot of light.
I just bought a light meter for hot redding torches, or to measure what we've done with hot redding torches.
Just like to put it back to chat for a moment because there's a comment that I absolutely adore. Sean, who is no longer playing Guild Wars 2, by the way, because he's finished it.
Is he?
Yeah. It says, a blonde gives you grief, a redhead gives you a slap.
Yep.
I will go with that general consensus and say, yeah, you're probably right.
See, Tony dies.
What level did he get to on Guild Wars then? In the end?
Levels, I can't remember. Sean, what level did you get to?
Tony dyes her hair, and her attitude changes depending on the colour of her hair. Which is quite infuriating.
The last thing I saw from Sean about Guild Wars was something about chickens.
Got to be careful of the chickens, man.
Yeah, those fuckers level up like fuck.
Which reminds me, I've got like 6 weeks of D&D to actually fucking upload.
6 weeks?
And well, I play every other week with my game, but it's kind of, yeah. It's been weird because the one person who's supposed to be there, who is also supposed to be here tonight, which isn't here tonight because he's got a date.
Yeah.
With a real human female, no doubt.
Fucking hell.
I have asked for pictorial truth.
Yeah, so pictures or it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Would that be
Well, Cords, I don't know if you've met him that much actually. You remember Fat Boy?
Yes.
Yeah, he's actually on a date tonight.
Fuck no.
You go on a date with that?
That has repercussions on the human race. Or potential repercussions.
I'm not even certain I was supposed to tell you like he's on a date, but yes, Fat Boy is on a date.
And Sean got to level 80.
David, or a copy of the restraining order. Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, that's what is actually happening.
Fat Boy on a date. Who'd have thunk it?
Would it be wrong of us to tag him into an awful lot of posts on Facebook?
No,
Nah, go for it.
I've been joined by a vicious killer.
Who's got pussy?
oh, you want to see a vicious killer? You want to see our puppy?
You got a puppy?
Well, no, I called him a puppy. He's about 5. Do you know, the funny thing is, his birthday is actually the same day as mine.
Talking about Marley.
Yeah.
Seriously? He's got
Marley's not a puppy.
Oh no, Ash, he wouldn't take his PC with him. No, that's an i5 build. That's real important to him. I have nothing against Intel processors. I have a lot against the price of Intel processors. For what they actually do, they're not worth the money. And I still stick by this. When I got into PC gaming, Intel was just a money sink. It was the Apple of the gaming world. Look at me. I've got an Intel processor.
See, this is my rationale behind AMD. Whenever I've had to build a PC, AMD has been the one that gives better bang for buck.
Uh-huh.
So I'm inclined to stick with them.
At the end of the day, if you are not doing professional 3D modeling, there is no need for you to have an Intel.
No. No
And
financial justification behind it, that's for sure.
And if you are doing professional 3D modeling, you'll be using Titan graphics cards anyway, and you'll have 3 or 4 of them, and they'll be doing the work. So there's still no need to have an Intel.
Mm-hmm.
What's your build, Keith? What are you running?
AMD.
Which one?
Now you're asking. It's a
A square one.
it's a quad core FX2 quad core black edition.
No, FX2 quad core is not too bad. Sean says, I did wonder why the hair dye had come out to play tonight, and also unless it's CAD work, no point. Pretty much, Sean, yeah. Games are becoming less and less CPU bound as we speak. In fact, if they are using the CPU, they're only using 1 or 2 cores of it, which means that if you get an AMD, for instance, an AMD, what was the one I was looking at? An 850 or whatever it is. Edward Black says, I've got an i7. I'll get my own coat, thanks.
Oh, don't be like that, Ed.
Come on, I got drunk with you in a pub in Shrewsbury.
Well,
Fat boy.
on you for having an Intel chip.
In fact, I want to go back to that. Right. Edward Black, who, for those who don't know, is Black Hack, and also go vote for him in POTV. POTV.
Planet of the Vapes.
Yeah. Vendor of the Month competition. He's a good guy. I know this solely from the fact that I once met him in a pub.
In Shrewsbury.
We had a really good conversation. I don't take pictures on my phone at all, ever, really, very often. Maybe a bit of vape mail here and there. But I have pictures of Black Hack and his 2 friends that were there, whose names escape me right now because I was drinking at the time that I met them. And, yeah, go vote for him. But also, I forgot exactly what I was saying now. Oh yeah, Fat Boy. Fat Boy was in the pub with us that night, as was Gray, a mutual friend of mine in Fat Boy's, who had to take Fat Boy home because Fat Boy was so pissed that the management asked us to remove him from the premises.
You broke Fat Boy.
I can break a lot of people when it comes down to drinking, because when I can drink and get pissed, and once I'm pissed, that's it. I don't get any further. I don't get to the sleepy, noddy offy stage. I just get to the piss stage, and then eventually the throwing up stage. And then once I've thrown up, I'm ready to drink again.
I used to do that. Now I drink, and then fall to sleep.
That's me.
See, there's only 1 point in the moment, and Manabush is leading by 1 point. So if you haven't already voted, go and vote for Black Hack.
Yes.
Really asking me to remember what my Planet of the Vapes login is.
I've already voted, so...
And just so this stays as it is, everybody in chat, you need to know that whole story about Fat Boy was between me and you. You know, we don't need anything going on too much, okay?
Don't go spreading it around Facebook.
Yes, Eddie, that was the guy who was falling about. The one who fell asleep on the chair next to my missus while we were having a conversation. That eventually got asked to leave because the manager came up to me and Mr. Kraken and was like, your friend needs to leave, and we both went at the same time. Gray? They were sharing a room, man. It's perfectly legitimate that he should have to take him home, not me. And then re-walk back with them just to make sure that they actually got back okay.
He's quite a sensitive soul, though, isn't he?
Who, Fat Boy?
Yeah. I remember him throwing quite a mighty strop about memes.
He's got a mighty strong strop about almost everything eventually.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a coarse fellow when he wants to be, and a lot of people don't get on with him, but I quite like him because quite frankly, he will tell you how he feels from the fucking get-go. He won't sugarcoat shit for you.
He's fucking great. I love him to bits, but it did amuse me how much of a strop he threw.
I don't know, I mean, at the end of the day, my personal opinion is nobody's out of bounds when it comes to piss taking. And I expect as much piss taken out of me when I do something stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, me too.
If someone gets offended with me because I've took the piss, there's a good chance I'm going to take the piss even more. Because I simply know what I've got, you know. But if they get the stop and then don't take the piss out of me, I'm rather disappointed. Because there's plenty of ammo.
So it's not just me then, because I get really disappointed when I start laying into people and then they don't give back.
Yeah.
Yeah, give back as much as possible, but if you throw a childish strop, that's not going to make me back off. That's just, it's like a red rag to a bull.
Apparently I'm stupid 24/7 according to Ash. Yes I am. And I am for a very good reason.
We take a lot of time practicing at that, Ash.
Ed says, I can honestly say that of all the people I met at Vape Fest, I never met one numpty. Everyone was good fun.
Ed, you're a true salesman.
Ed, I would only like to caveat that with, you did meet me.
Well, that's true.
To the point of, I actually stopped drinking beer at one point and started on the spirits because I'd had too much. That's when you can tell that I've had too much to drink.
Oh, when you take
Not drinking spirits.
spirits instead.
Yeah, because it's less to drink.
Yes,
I actually got upset with the barman in the pub we were in because I asked him for a Southern Comfort and lemonade, and I like my Southern Comfort and lemonade 50-50. So I like it 50% Southern Comfort, 50% lemonade, and he went to fill the entire glass up.
Did you backhand it back at him? Because you should have.
I was not pleased, and he did give me a free Southern Comfort and lemonade as I ordered it, as well as the one that I didn't really want.
Well, that's not too bad then.
So I wasn't going to be too angry with him.
No.
And I'm pretty sure at some point I brought him a drink, because I'm pretty sure at some point I brought almost everybody a drink.
Ash, has anyone else tried yogurt in liquid?
No, Ash, because it's the latest craze and I refuse to go near it.
I've not tried it either and I don't really want to. Not yogurt.
David says, was it in a pint pot? No, but a couple of years ago on New Year's Eve I actually spent, up until 1 o'clock in the morning, I had one Southern Comfort and lemonade, which was mixed at about 50-50. And then after that I actually just started drinking the Southern Comfort from the bottle.
I do have rum and coke in a pint pot.
I've been carried out of a pub. And I mean carried. Thanks to Southern Comfort. In fact, I was carried the 1,200 yards that it took to get from that pub to my house. And it was literally a person per limb. Until a local halfway home and got annoyed that I was being carried and beat the shit out of everyone. And then they just let me crawl.
I've crawled home before. It's not a pleasant thing in the morning after. Why have I got glass in my knees? Fortunately, at that point, I actually lived over the road from the pub that I was drinking in.
That's not too bad then.
See, now I just drink at home, so I drink copious amounts of better. And then might have some comfort or something.
Well, Ash is enjoying his yogurt e-liquid.
Yeah, well, you're weird, Ash.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I'm sure it's quite palatable. I'm just
Probably is.
content with what I'm using.
Ash says he doesn't drink much anymore due to medical reasons. Well, that's kind of understandable, Ash.
Yeah. It is.
Oh, no, we are not talking about tequila. Nope.
It's not called devil's piss for nothing.
No, my problem with tequila is I actually learned Spanish. Well, I say Spanish. Mexican Spanish. In Mexico whilst drinking tequila. So now the only time I can actually speak Spanish is when I'm pissed on tequila. And it's the only language I will speak. So once I have about half a dozen tequilas, that's it. I just speak Spanish. And then all I want to drink is tequila.
Hola, buenas noches, amigo.
It's not pleasant. And then
está?
it's like Sambuca makes me violent, so I don't drink it. Because I steer away from anything that's going to make me violent, because it's not nice for the people around me. It's also not nice for me when I wake up the following morning with bruises and cuts and God knows what else.
I used to be known as Angry Gods when I drank lager. And I did stop drinking lager largely for that reason. Other than the fact that it tastes like horse piss as well.
Yeah, lager shit.
For the best part of 20 years, I've just drunk bitter. And that does me.
I don't mind some lagers. Like I drink Carlsberg because it's got a flavour to it. I won't.
Don't drink lager at all.
Don't blame me, Chief, I'm with you.
I mean, I'm more of an ale person, but
You'll laugh, but what I'm drinking at the moment is my regular drink, which is Little Bitter, which is cheap, but actually extremely good for a bitter. It's very nice.
Bitter's alright.
Mm.
I don't mind bitter. I'm
Right.
drinking cider at the moment. Strongbow at the moment for me.
that's not cider.
This stuff.
You might as well be drinking
Drink.
Stella if you're drinking Strongbow.
Otherwood's bitter. It's fantastic.
What did you say then, Ryan?
I said you might as well be drinking Stella if you're drinking Strongbow. It's all made of the same bloody chemicals.
Yeah, but when he opens his can, he gets the sound effect of 2 arrows hitting his desk every single time.
Yeah. Where'd you get that bitter from, Gort?
Lidl.
Lidl.
It's about £2 for 4 cans, and it's exceptionally good for that.
All I'm going to say to David is, David, me and you, we need to go out to the camp at Grimley and drink some cider. Because they do an exceptionally good cider out of the camp.
Some cider.
Oh, it's lovely.
I'm no longer voting for you.
Some proper cider.
Ed,
Isn't that almost non-patriotic?
I'm pretty sure A, yeah, that is non-patriotic, but B, that's pretty much what whiskey's supposed to do, right?
I'm sticking some of this 7.5% stuff in my tankard now.
Is it white line then?
No, amberjack.
Ah, kind of like Frosty Jack then, but with a different label.
Yeah, it's amber. It's amber coloured.
Ask my bowel movements have remained regular for years now, regardless of what shit diet I eat.
Oh, blimey. It's 25 past 10.
Yep,
So,
we're all having so much fun.
I know, we're having the most random fucking conversations this evening. So yes, to just convey what's going on this evening, we had a conversation about cars. Then we had a conversation briefly about Gord's new setup. Then we had a conversation about gun laws and guns in general.
don't forget collecting SNES cartridges.
Yeah. Then we had a conversation about collectibles. Then we informed you all that Fat Boy is actually on an actual real life date with a real life human female.
The one that breathes. Yeah.
Apparently so.
I'm sort of thinking we need to bring out a license for dating.
Definitely a license for breeding.
Yes, I'd second that because I shouldn't have ever bred, despite the fact I love my children immensely.
And now we've had a conversation about alcoholic beverages in their various amounts. So I think it's time that we say our goodbyes
Oh.
so that I can have a private conversation with Keith about what happened the other night.
Yeah.
So, Keith, would you like to say your goodbyes, sir?
Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. It's been great to have your company and chat. And we shall hopefully see you here same time, same place next week. Goodbye.
Gords, would you like to say your goodbyes, sir?
Yes, thank you everyone for joining, especially Sav, because we love you, Sav. Next week you won't, or more than likely won't see me, and if you do, it will be on a mobile with a mobile hookup. So I make no promises. I will be in the middle of the Lake District. But thanks for turning up tonight. You've been wonderful as always.
And I will end by saying thank you to Keith and to Gords for joining me this evening. It would not be the same show without you. In fact, it would probably only last about 15 minutes of me going, fuck this, I'm out. And thank you to everybody in chat for putting up with this kind of disjointed and kind of all over the place sort of web show where we talked about random shit that probably doesn't affect you in the slightest. But please remember, if Fat Boy can get a date,
You can too.
There's
anybody
hope
can.
for everybody.
So, thank you for watching. Go vote for Black Hack in the POTV.
Yes, definitely.
I can't even get my words out. POTV Vendors of the Month poll.
Pint up the vapes.
If you don't, I'll know.
We'll all know.
And you don't want to annoy Keith.
No, you don't.
He's vicious when he's angry.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch.
Always. So, as always, thank you for watching, and tatty-wise...